So if you've been in the market for a flashlight, I'm sure you've heard of the Olight Seeker 4 and the Seeker 4 Pro. But you may be wondering what the differences are between the two and which one you should buy. Well, here I have the Olight Seeker 4 and the Seeker 4 Pro. I'm going to go over quickly what the differences are between them, and most importantly, take them both out to my backyard and show you what these beams look like side by side. So I'm going to quickly run through the differences between the Seeker 4 and the Seeker 4 Pro here. But if you want more in-depth information on these two flashlights, I'll put my video reviews down below in my description box. So go check those out after this video, but I'll give you a nice close-up of the Seeker 4 right here and of the Seeker 4 Pro. Real quick. So let's start with the basics here. The Seeker 4 has a maximum output of 3,100 lumens, a maximum throw of 400 meters, and a max intensity of 40,260 candela, versus the Seeker 4 Pro at 4,600 lumens, a throw of 260 meters, and a max intensity of 16,895 candela. So in its simplest terms, if you needed me to describe either one of these flashlights in only a few words, the Seeker 4 Pro is more of a floodlight, and the Seeker 4 is more of a thrower. Of course, there's more to it than that, but like I said, in its simplest terms. The max runtime is exactly the same on both at 15 days. That's because they have the exact same battery. A 3.6 volt, 5,000 milliamp hour, 21700 rechargeable lithium ion battery. They both have 6 total modes, 5 brightness levels, and 1 special mode, that's strobe. They're both made of aluminum alloy and have a type 3 hard anodized finish. And they're both IPX8 waterproof. The X means the dust proofing wasn't tested, and the 8 means they're both submersible in up to 6 feet of water. And one of the main differences is right down the barrel here. You can see the 4 has a single LED and the Pro has 4 LEDs. And you can see that deep reflector right here on the 4. That's going to have a lot to do with that extra throwing power. And the more shallow reflectors right here with those 4 LEDs, you guessed it, that has a lot to do with it being a better floodlight. And as of the recording of this video, the Seeker 4 is only available in one color temperature. That's a cool white, even though I think the version that I have right here looks more of a neutral white. But you'll see that when I go out and do the beam test, while the Seeker 4 Pro is available in 2 different color temperatures. It's available in a neutral white, that's about 4,000 to 5,000 Kelvin, and a cool white, which is this one right here, that's between 5,700 and 7,000 Kelvin. I'll give you a close-up at those striking bezels. You can see the Seeker 4 Pro has a much more aggressive striking bezel than the 4 right here. And the bezel here is responsible for the Seeker 4 being just slightly longer than the Seeker 4 Pro. But other than that, their dimensions are almost exactly the same. The Seeker 4 is 5.28 inches long, while the Seeker 4 Pro is 5.24 inches long. Now, the Seeker 4 might be longer on paper, but between me and you, I can barely tell the difference in length here. Like I said, one of these little ridges on the striking bezel is just slightly longer than the striking bezel over here on the Seeker 4 Pro. And honestly, unless you get out a microscope, you're not going to be able to tell the differences between these two. But everything else is exactly the same. They have the exact same bezel diameter at 1.38 inches, the same body diameter at its thickest point at 1.10 inches, and they both weigh exactly the same with the battery in it at 7.23 ounces. Now, I mentioned they both have 6 total modes, and they're both controlled with a single side switch right here. The 4 has a single stainless steel side switch with a tri-colored battery life indicator LED right dead center, while the 4 Pro has a much more elaborate side switch where it allows for stepless dimming, and it has more of a dashboard where it shows the brightness level on the one side here and the battery life indicators right there on the side. And if I get in real close, those LEDs are basically invisible until you push the button, and then they become illuminated. And I'm sure you notice those are boot up battery life indicators and brightness level indicators. After a few seconds, they go away. As opposed to the 4 over here that has a tricolor battery life indicator right dead center. It's green because I'm at 100%, but it doesn't go away. It stays on the whole time. And they both have the exact same UI. I'm not going to go over the UI here. I went over it in detail in my video reviews. So if you already own an Olight, you already know that UI. It's exactly the same as any other Olight. But on the Olight Seeker 4 Pro right here, as I already mentioned, it has a stepless dimming feature that can be controlled just by rotating the side switch. So not only can you press and hold to go through low, medium, and high, but you also have complete control with this stepless dimming feature. And on top of that, if I let the LEDs go out here, when the flashlight is off, you can basically preset, it's right over here, preset what you want your brightness level to be before you even turn it on. So right there, that's the highest. If I want it on medium, set it to medium right there with those two LEDs, turn it on. Now I'm on medium. So if you're looking for just a little bit more control, you obviously should go with the Seeker 4 Pro right here. So as I move down the body, you can see the Seeker 4 Pro has a silicone wrap, which makes for very nice ergos. When you're holding it, it feels really nice. It also works as an anti-slip feature and reduces heat when you're using turbo on this flashlight for any given amount of time. And on the Seeker 4, it just has these 3 finger grooves on each side. And that's basically the only other differences on the body itself. That is, of course, until I get to the tail cap itself. The Seeker 4 has this little bow tie looking lever right here that you can just move out of the way and it reveals the USB Type-C charging port. That's right, the only way to charge the Seeker 4 is through that USB Type-C charging port, as opposed to the Olight Seeker 4 Pro that still has the magnetic charging capabilities. But the Seeker 4 Pro also comes with one of my favorite holsters I've ever seen, honestly. It is a charging holster, and if you put the Seeker 4 Pro in the holster, you can still charge it with the USB Type-C port right there on the bottom of the holster. And if you don't own any other Olights and don't have the magnetic charging cable, that's the only way to charge this flashlight. Of course, if you have a magnetic charging cable, you can just slap it right there on the bottom. But if you don't, you got to put it in the holster and plug in the USB Type-C charging cable, which is included, by the way. And that's not the only feature this holster can do. If you're using the flashlight and turn it off, once you put the flashlight in the holster, it automatically locks out the flashlight. So you can see if I try pressing that button, it's locked out, but once I take it out, press the button, now it's unlocked. So that is an awesome feature of the holster, but if you want to use the flashlight while it's in the holster, just press and hold, and then it unlocks and you have complete control over the flashlight. I think it's great. But on the other hand, the Seeker 4 doesn't come with a holster and it doesn't come with a pocket clip. When I did my review of the Seeker 4 here, it was basically before the flashlight was released. And I wasn't sure if they offered a pocket clip or anything like that after the fact, which now I know that they do. If you go to the Olight website, they now offer a pocket clip for the Seeker 4 and the Seeker 4 Pro for $5.95. That's right, they're going to charge you an extra $6 just to get a pocket clip for either one of these flashlights. So in a nutshell, that's basically the differences between the Seeker 4 and the Seeker 4 Pro. Now, I'm not going to go over in detail the differences between the lumens and runtime in these two flashlights. Instead, I'll pop up a graph of both flashlights so you can pause the screen and just check out the differences in lumens and runtime between these two flashlights. All right, now it's time to take these two bad boys outside so I can demonstrate what the beams look like side by side. Now I'm going to start here with the Seeker 4 on low. And the main thing you're going to see here is the Seeker 4 is more of a thrower and the Seeker 4 Pro is a flutter. And what is that? Oh my God, look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 deer right there. They're all looking at me. Wow. The other day I saw coyotes back here and I almost thought those were coyotes, but those are deer. I'm not going to keep blinding them though. But holy crap. Anyways, this is the Seeker 4 on low. And you're going to see a much more intense hotspot with the Seeker 4 because of that deep reflector. There is medium. Hit that tree, easy. Just pan across. And there's an airplane going over the top, so it might get a little loud. And it's raining and starting to snow. This is great. But hopefully it gives you a nice idea of what these beams look like. Let's go to high. Man, it's actually kind of messing everything up here. In fact, I think I'm going to have to stop and do this again tomorrow night because it's not going to give you an idea of this beam throw. So hopefully it's not raining or snowing tomorrow night.
The next day.
Okay, so it's the next night and you can see the result of that sleet that was happening last night. So let's try this again. And see if those deer are still over there, and they are long gone. But anyways, I'm starting with the Seeker 4. That is low right there. Let's go right to medium because I did a little bit of low last night. Skim across. And just pay attention to this hot spot in that outer perimeter of the 4 because it's going to have a 400 meter throw versus 260. But you can see it's going to have a much more intense hot spot right there. Let's go to high. Pan it back and forth. Skim across. And once again, I'll put up the distance between me and the barn and me and that tree right there. But let's go to turbo. This is our full 3100 lumens and 400 meters of throw. And yeah, I can't really help the snow. I know it's bouncing the light back a little bit, but you know, honestly, not everyone's going to have perfect conditions using this light. And I'm already dedicating another night to this beam test. So it has to be done, and it has to be done tonight. So hopefully you guys are getting what you need out of this beam test here. So that is that. And now let's go to the Seeker 4 Pro right here. So let's turn that on. There we go, low. And now automatically you can see the differences in the pattern there in the beam. So you can see that hotspot is large, but it's way spread out, not as defined, not as crispy. Same thing with that outer perimeter, because this is going to be more of a floodlight. So that's low. There is medium. Right there. And let's go to high. So now we're kissing that barn over there. And look at that, lighting up a much wider area than that Seeker 4. You can absolutely see that here. Let's just go to turbo. This is the this is the full 4600 lumens and 260 meters of throw. So it's easily going to hit that barn over there. I believe that barn is like 130 meters, if I remember right, from this position. But hopefully you guys can make your decision based on these two beam profiles, which one you need and which one is going to be best for you. And I'm going to go to another part of the lawn so you guys can get even more beam shots. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for this video. So now hopefully you have a better understanding of the Seeker 4 and the Seeker 4 Pro. I feel like I'm slurring my words a little bit because my face is a little frozen. It is cold out there. Anyways, if you guys want to check out the Seeker 4 or the Seeker 4 Pro, I will have links down below in my description box. But if you did enjoy this video, please give me that thumbs up. Please subscribe and go.